The night was restless, the prairie winds sleeping through the creaks of the old barn like whispers of the dead. Lantern light saw it from a rusty hook, casting shadows that crawled along the splintered boards. The smell of dust and old hay clung heavy in the air. At the threshold stood the rancher, Clay Harlow, broad shoulders framed by the doorway, the brim of his hat shadowing his eyes. His hand held close to the warm grip of his colt, as if danger might leap from the dark itself. Across from him, near the center of the barn, Eliza May clutched a quilt-wrapped bundle to her chest. Her knuckles had gone white, fingers twisted tight in the fabric. Her face glistened with sweat, though the night was cool. White eyes locked on him, shimmering with fear and something else, desperation. "Please," she whispered, the word breaking like brittle glass. "Please, don't lift the cloth." The lantern flame flared as if to puncture her pleasure, throwing her trembling form into stark relief. The quilt twitched in her arms, whether from the draft or from something within, Clay couldn't say. He took a slow step forward, the wood creaking under his boot. Her breath caught sharply, tears welled up, sliding down her cheeks as she shook her head. The way she clung to that bundle made it seem less like cloth and more like a barrier between them and something unspeakable. Outside, coyotes howled in the distance, their cries carrying through the empty fields, as if the whole land knew what was hidden in that barn. Clay's jaw tightened. He wasn't the kind of man to be turned back by fear, his or anyone else's. Yet something in her eyes made him pause. For the first time in years, he felt the cold stir of uncertainty in his chest. "Would you like to expand this scene further with dialogue and Clay's internal thoughts, making it slower, more suspenseful, or keep it mostly cinematic and descriptive like the night pressed hard against the barn walls, the kind of black silence that made every creak and whisper sound like it come from something alive?" Clay sat hunched near the fire pit, his rifle leaning close at hand, but it wasn't bandits or wolves that kept his jaw tight. It was that damned table in the corner, sitting there like it had been waiting for him all along. The black cloth draped over it seemed heavier than it had any right to be, and no breeze slipped through the cracks in the wood. Clay swore his head shift, just slightly, as to something beneath it stirred. Mara appeared from the shadows, her face pale in the glow of the lantern. "You're thinking on it," she said, her voice soft but sharp as a blade. "Don't." Clay dragged his thumb across his jaw, the leather of his chair grinding as he stood. "If broken wild mustangs and fought men who tried to get them. I don't scare easy, miss. Whatever's under that rock, you'll see it." Her hands trembled as she stepped into his path. "It ain't about fear, it is about survival. The men before you, they all looked. And they're gone, every last one, dead or worse." The fire puppet, sending sparks into the air. Clay's shadow loomed across the wall, tall and stubborn. He brushed past her, boots thudding on the warped floorboards. She caught his sleeve, pulling with desperate strength. "Please, Clay, for God's sake." He wrenched free, the weight of defiance in every movement. His hand gripped the edge of the black cloth, rough fingers curling into it. The fabric felt colder than it should, like dipping his hand into water drawn from a well at midnight. Behind him, Mara let out a choked cry. "Don't!" But Clay set his jaw, tight grinding, and in one swift motion he ripped kamre and high, divaron par esenamiki smell you trahi high or hitkion es bairishki chikti high avas andargus rahi high. Чхоти ситейбель парайкей пира на бокс рак хахай, джиска дик кандир эс и кулн ксат хайкей рошни кашхарна фут патахай. Ус рошни эн индер качир дия, ор пиндант апни джага эс и джейс саанас лераха хо, аскид харак, аска чамак, сапкуч зинда лактахай. Уман апен лараст хай хатон эс и пиндант ютати хай. Джес хай уас чути хай, аскандер и кей тафан юта хай. Аски ангфюн банд ход хай пирани един бижли китара чамак тихейн, бачпан кайкей шхаракха, мити эмбани гей гол чаккар, орыкей авас джо аскуч уада кароти хай. Аск дил кидха от кантёс хати джарахи хай, черпар хирани ордарар дона килейки райнхейн. Мен аск билкул паас хара хай, аск чер пар паришини орбикини ликхи хай. О аск кант пар хаат ракта хай, а вас джалди ордарер каранг хай, ей уукт хай. Там ед карна хай хога, уорна сабхатам ходжаега. Бахар тафан орбеич айтёс ходжата хай, хитки кшеш зор эс и каем тхейн. Фираканак дарваза зорки а вас ксат кул джата хай. Эндер куч парча яндайкен лакти хейн, джоандер дикхил хон уоли хати хейн. Уман пиндан капен синг паас мазбути эс и пакати хай, аски ангхон абдарер баджей и кейная джазба чама краха хай. Аски санес пхар ати хай, ору от хейми магар мазбут авас кати хай, ап аинду, мын тай